right, this pumpkin is turning out kind of good. It's a little pumpkin spice and everything nice. I realize I could have made my tone in this a lot spookier, like a campfire scary story, but we're in too deep because here comes the reveal. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, or to it if this is the first time you're visiting. Happy Halloween! I am a jackass. No further questions. I'm a donkey this Halloween because I already had the costume. But today we are doing a spooky Halloween haunted story time. Now, I have been asked before to do sort of haunted or supernatural themed story times, and I wanted to save it for spooky season. However, time got away from me, so you only get this one and on Halloween. So I hope you guys like hanging out with me on holidays. For my activity, I'm also going to be carving this lovely pumpkin, throwing it back to my roots in one of my very successful videos. Go check it out. I carved pumpkins with my friend Kelly, and there was an unseen clip from there that actually went viral on TikTok, which is funny because I didn't include it in the YouTube video. But that's just a funny throwback. But today I'm carving a carvable pumpkin. I mean, aren't all pumpkins carvable? Like a fake pumpkin, because last one just got too messy, and then it rotted in 2 days. I had no idea pumpkins rotted so quickly after all the hard work that you put into it. So this one will last me for forever. But if you like story times and hanging out with me, make sure to like this video so you can join us for future story times, yada, yada, yada. Let's just get into this spooky, haunting story that I'll tell you more about now. All right, so first things first, I am done with this nose and buck teeth because I will not be able to breathe. Now, this story is going to be about my friend named Lily. Now, Lily is one of those people who has a special gift of sensing spirits, feeling auras, and seeing ghosts. Now, I'm not sure what you guys believe, but I'm one of those people. Why is it wet? Is my pumpkin bleeding? Oh, I just rinsed off this knife. Hang on, this pumpkin's really hard to carve and I'm gonna cut myself. I don't know if you guys believe in spirits or ghosts, but I definitely believe. I think that there's something to people who can sense those auras and kind of can connect to the people that have passed on, which is really weird because if you were to ask me what happens in the afterlife, I'd be like, nothing. But then if you ask me, do you believe in ghosts? I'd be like, absolutely. So take this story with a grain of salt, whether you believe or not, but hopefully you just enjoy. But Lily was one of those people who historically just kind of could connect with people from the afterlife. Bro, aren't carvable pumpkins supposed to be for children? I thought it was gonna be like styrofoam. This is like adamantium. Golly. Oh my gosh, it says I have to use a hot knife, like an X-Acto knife that feeds in heat to it because of the foam. I didn't realize I had to look up how to actually do this, and that I don't have the tools. This is gonna take me light years if I tried it. Should I heat up? I could heat up no. Maybe I could paint it. This was not the plan. All right, I'm gonna paint this stupid pumpkin. Wow, you guys just let me start carving that without telling me I can't carve a carvable pumpkin? It's really rude of you. Let me just start over. So Lily could see ghosts. So the story starts many years ago where Lily needed to move into a new place because she had this large dog. However, she worked very, very long hours, and her apartment just wasn't cutting it because she really needed a yard for her dog so that way he could just use the doggy door to go in and out. So she was on the hunt for a new place to live. She ended up finding this house for rent that was absolutely perfect. You know, it had a garage, a washer dryer, but most importantly, it had this yard for her dog. And it also had a little garden that she could mend to. So she went to check out the place, and again, because she's a little medium clairvoyant, she got no bad vibes. I think she can kind of like immediately sense if there's a bad presence in the air, and got no bad vibes. So she signed her lease and moved into this cute little new house. Oh my gourd. I don't think this is gonna work. This paint is not sticking. but we're gonna keep trying. It might take 2 coats. So Lily moves into this new house, and one day she's out in the garden tending to the arugula and the boysenberries and whatever you grow in a garden. And as she's down on her hands and knees, she hears meowing. And she's like, oh my gosh, is there a cat in my garden? Where's that meowing coming from? She's like looking under the bushes, kind of looking all around, and doesn't see a cat, but can just hear this loud meowing. And after looking for like 10 minutes for this cat, it just kind of stops. And she thought it was kind of weird, but you know, the cat probably ran off. She maybe saw the dog through the window and got a little spooked, but just kind of interesting that there was a cat meowing, but no actual cat. So she continues to move into the house and everything's wonderful about it. One thing that she did note was that the office area was always really hot. Now, she was in kind of a warmer state where you sort of need air conditioning, and this room was just always hotter than the others. And she thought maybe it was because of all the beautiful windows, and there were a lot of mirrors in this office, and so it kind of reflected all the light. But she didn't enjoy working in there because it was just always so unnecessarily hot. So one night, Lily is cuddled up on the couch with her dog, Ravioli. Why is that the first dog name that comes into my head? Anyway, she's on the couch with her dog Ravioli, and they're watching Real Housewives of Utah or whatever it was, when all of a sudden she hears this meowing again, but this time it's in the house. And she's like, what the heck is going on? Is the cat in the house? And Ravioli hears it too and kind of perks up thinking, there's a little friend for me to go play with and chase in this house. Where the heck is it? So she kind of like puts Ravioli away so she can look for this cat, and she just keeps hearing this meowing, and Ravioli is in the office barking, going crazy, and she thinks it's because he's locked up in there. But she goes into the office, and that's where the meowing is coming from. She checks every single nook and cranny in this office. Can't find a cat. Cat's pretty noticeable if you found it, especially if you stumble across it. And mind you, she hadn't completely moved in. She didn't have things in the closet or boxes it could hide in. There was just no cat in this room, which she thought was very weird. So Lily's in the house for a few weeks, everything's going fine, but there was another night where something very weird happened. One day, Lily was unpacking in another room, and again, it's just her and her dog Ravioli, when she hears giggling. A little child giggle. Now, this is different from hearing a cat and thinking, oh my God, there's a cat in my house. If a child is giggling in your home, I'm pretty sure she can hear it. So her alarm bells go off because she's like, oh shoot, another spirit is trying to contact me because I'm a witch or something. I don't know. So she goes to investigate. She's following the giggling and it's kind of everywhere, so she can't really pinpoint where it's coming from. So she decides to go into her office area and the giggling stops. So she kind of lost her trail of where this giggling could be coming from. So as she's starting to exit the room, she looks over at one of the mirrors on the wall because again, this room was very hot because all the mirrors were reflecting all of the light. And there's a little kid handprint on the bottom of the mirror kind of smudging down. And Lily kind of goes cold because again, she had moved in and didn't see this before. Now in her head, she's like, did I just not notice this before? No, because I've been working in here. I think I would have noticed a giant hand smudge on the mirror, but it's a little kid's hand. And her landlord, who had kind of just fixed up the house, didn't really have any kids. So right away, she's thinking, I'm being haunted. But Lily doesn't panic. Like I mentioned, Lily has had experiences like this before. She's not one of those clairvoyants or mediums who helps ghosts passed on to the afterlife. No. The way she described it was that she has a gift for peeking into the afterlife, but the people that are there, it's like they don't know she's there. It's like she can get a glimpse into what they're doing in the afterlife, but they don't necessarily see her. So at any point, she never felt in danger. She never felt like they were threatening her or needed something from her. It was always just like, ah, man, I can sense them, but they have no idea that I'm here. But one thing that did kind of throw Lily off is she said it was kind of true the whole urban legend that when you feel a spirit, everything goes cold, but in this room, everything was hot. So she kept second guessing where that handprint came from, why wasn't it cold in that room, and if there really was a spirit, or if she's just so used to using her abilities that maybe she's just convincing herself of something that's not actually there. So she calls her landlord and asks him to come and check out the office because she thinks the AC's broken. Landlord comes down, checks the AC. The AC's fine. The room is just unnaturally hot. So she asks the landlord, like, hey, crazy question, but by any chance has anybody ever passed away in this room? And the landlord says, I'm not really sure. I kind of just bought this property and flipped it so that way I could rent it out to chumps like you. So not really sure. But again, she's just kind of like, I'm not really sure what's going on, but again, I don't feel like I'm in danger. It's not like I'm being haunted and annoyed by ghosts, because ghosts can be so annoying. So it's not really that big of a deal. Oh my God, you guys are gonna freaking love what I'm painting. It's a surprise. Did I tell you that? Well, I haven't shown you, so clearly it's gonna be a surprise. Also, painting a pumpkin, not as aesthetically pleasing, but it is a whole heck of a lot easier. I don't need to get an arm workout trying to carve an impossible pumpkin. Moving on. So a couple of weeks pass, no interactions with ghosts. But there was one night where Lily fell asleep. Again, sweet little Ravioli on the bed. What kind of dog do you think Ravioli is? I'd like to imagine a big old husky German Shepherd mix. I don't know why. But she falls asleep and experiences a sleep paralysis like she's never experienced before. So I don't know if you guys have ever had sleep paralysis, but it's terrifying because you are stuck in your body and you are aware that you can't move. But what's even scarier for Lily is this is when she had her first interaction with some sort of being. The way she describes it is she became paralyzed in her bed. She felt all of a sudden a rush of cold all around her. Again, it used to be hot before, but now she's finally feeling the cold. She can't move her head, she can't see what's going on, but in her peripheral vision, she can see the shape of a little girl. And then she hears the giggling. And again, because she's so paralyzed in this state, she isn't able to look and see an actual figure. It was more of just a shadow in her periphery, giggling, and the clear notion that some sort of spirit is in that room. Her sleep paralysis resides. She looks to her right. There's nothing there. Goes and turns on the lights. Doesn't see anything. But over on the wall was another smudged handprint on the mirror. And this time she knew that that handprint wasn't there before, and there was indeed some sort of spirit in her house. So Lily didn't really do much over the next couple of weeks. She said that weird things would happen, like things would get misplaced or, something would fall over unexpectedly. But nothing ever seemed like it was that threatening or scary to her. She wasn't gonna call a priest to get it exorcised, and she wasn't about to, phone friends and ask to stay with them. She was still totally comfortable living in this place because, again, she had experiences with this and she wasn't in danger. And then one night she had her strangest encounter of them all. So she was playing fetch with good old husky German Shepherd Ravioli and was playing a little tennis ball in the house. She tossed the ball, but it got a little away from her and rolled into the office. Now, it rolled into the office and under a little futon that she had in there. So Ravioli is looking under the couch and just immediately starts barking. And yeah, he wanted the ball, but this was a little unnatural. So she goes over to get Ravioli's silly little tennis ball, gets on her hands and knees, looks under the couch, and sees a bright pair of glaring cat eyes looking right at her. She is startled, stunned, and terrified because here was the cat that she assumed was meowing weeks and weeks earlier. But why is it here all of a sudden? She looks under again, it's gone. She lifts up the couch, there's no cat. Ravioli is still going crazy, but there is no cat. There is nowhere it could have run off to. The cat wasn't there. So this was kind of the point where she was like, all right, I need to find out what happened here. Because even though she couldn't help spirits cross over or fulfill their duty in order to move on in the afterlife. She just needed to know why this little girl was giggling in her house and why this random cat kept appearing. She had already asked her landlord if anything had happened there, and he said he didn't know. Again, he just flipped the house. So she goes to the library. Just kidding, that's so outdated. She probably just went on Google and did some research to see if anything happened. Now, this is kind of I feel like this happens a lot in movies where they just Google their address and all of the malicious things that happened immediately pop up. She said that this didn't happen, that it was actually kind of hard to research any type of old archives of her house, because unless you had specific search terms of the victim or kind of the crime that happened, it was actually pretty difficult to learn. She even tried looking up previous tenants to see if she can contact them and be like, were you being haunted too? But that's not public record that she could at least find. So it was kind of a dead end. So Lily is out in her garden one day when a neighbor pops her head over just to say hi and maybe give Ravioli a little treat. Lily says, hey, Margaret, how long have you lived here? And Margaret says, oh, very long time. She said, do you know, hypothetically speaking, if anything has happened at this property, if there was some sort of crime or some sort of accident, because weird things have been happening. And this neighbor, Margaret, says, well, nothing since I've been here, and I've been here a long time, but I did hear a rumor that many, many years ago, there was a fire at that house, and the family was able to escape unharmed. However, one of the young little daughters ran back inside the burning house to save her little cat. And that's why there was meowing and giggling coming from the office. So Lily had her answer. The office was really hot because that's the place where the fire occurred. This giggling was taking place because a little girl had lived there, and obviously the office could have been either her bedroom or her play area. And the little cat that she kept seeing and hearing, and the one that Ravioli kept barking, was underneath the couch because that's probably where this cat was hiding during this fire when the little girl ran back in to try to save him but was unsuccessful. So yes, this little girl did die in the fire trying to save her cat. And so for Lily, everything that Margaret was saying made so much sense, and she just felt so much more at peace with what was going on, knowing the history behind this house. And again, I've said it before, but I'll say it again, Lily felt no way in danger. If anything, it felt more like closure for her and a way for her to actually accept what was happening. You know, when things would be misplaced, when she heard giggling or when she heard meowing, she kind of would just be like, oh, it's the little girl. Oh, it's the little girl and her little cat. She, again, didn't feel any kind of responsibility to help the little girl move on because she didn't feel like the little girl needed to move on. In a sense, she kind of described it as that little girl was stuck in time, still living her life in that house before the fire even happened. And Lily was there kind of just sensing it all from an outside perspective. And the crazy part, because again, my mind is like, you're being haunted by a girl and her cat? Run and get out of there. But Lily stayed at that house for several years. She rented it out, had no issue with it, and moved out several years later. She did feel like it was her moral responsibility to let the landlord know and kind of encourage him to tell the next tenants that, hey, there was a death here a long time ago, so if weird things happen, that's why. But because she had this ability and this clairvoyance, she didn't think that they would be haunted or would experience any kind of weird things when she left. It was just something that only she experienced. And from her knowledge, any future tenants never felt like it was haunted and never sensed that extraterrestrial, dang it, that's the wrong word, supernatural kind of beings. And so that's the story of my friend Lily and her experience with this little girl who died in a house fire trying to save her cat. Thank you guys so much. That is going to be the end of this story time. I hope you enjoyed spending Halloween with me if you are watching it on Halloween. If not, happy Thanksgiving, because now it's November. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and just checking out my story times. If you aren't already subscribed, make sure to subscribe so you can join us for other future story times of not only things that are my stories, but also these secondhand story times of just crazy things that have happened. Let me know in the comments if you believe in ghosts, in supernatural kind of abilities, and your thoughts on my beautiful cat pumpkin here. Oh, my cats! It's so cute. But that's gonna be it for me. I will see you guys in the next video. Toodles! All right, for the record, this is the full donkey costume. I, of course, have my ears, my nose, and my buck teeth. I paired it with this lovely onesie from Goodwill so that I'm comfortable. And then it also came with a little tail. That's kind of fun. And a bow tie. I don't know, do donkeys wear bow ties? I'm not really sure. But I do have a confession. I went to a Shrek party last year as donkey, which is why I have all this. So I'm not that clever to come up with Jackass as a costume, but I don't know, pretty cute, right?